Frank comes up and he said, "That's the best, bravest drive I have ever seen in my life."
Oh, you would have meant it.
I know.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it nearly took me to tears because I thought, oh shit, I've done something. And he shook up. You've probably gathered it that I'm brutally honest and terribly sincere about anything that I say. Now, if I dislike someone, I don't even bother talking to them. I don't invite arguments or disagreements. I tend not to be involved with a person I have no respect for. The first car I raced was someone else's. It was an Austin Healey Sprite. And that was where the poison got in the veins, and that was the end of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And how'd you get
Oran
that?
Park, the inaugural meeting at Oran Park.
The inaugural?
2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th on the one day, and I lost first place to Les Howard. Was it Les? Or Les? One of the Howard boys anyway. By big mistake on my behalf, of course, and because I was counting the prize money. As my mentor at the time, Billy Jemison, used to say to me, "Don't start counting the bloody prize money before you go across the finish line." And of course, if you made a mistake in the last lap, you dickhead, you would have been counting the prize money. And that's why you lost concentration. But first race was in an Austin Healey Sprite with a Simca motor in it. And today you think, oh, you're back off here, but then you were blinking. That's all part of it. You accept that. There's no good thinking about that because you can't change that. So work with what you've got. And that's what you did. And I look back over some of the old people keep dragging photos in here all the time. Some of them from the early 60s at Bathurst. Good God, we raced on that.
You're the king of the mini, weren't you?
Minis were just so much fun. You could do so much in a mini out of the ordinary and get away with it. I used to put myself into situations where I think, oh shit, you've overstepped. And back on the throttle and it's all worked.
They did overstep and looked like it was all over, and they all fell back together again somehow. Yeah, they're the opposite. They're used to anything.
All of a sudden we're finding that huge mistake that you made, and when you forced yourself back on the throttle, gee, that worked, that was fast. We'll do that next lap. And I remember a race at Pukekohe in New Zealand. It was pouring down rain, and the Mini just didn't want to turn. There was a very hooky turn past the grandstands. But I thought to myself, how can I get its snout pointing that way? With a handbrake. That worked. So every lap after that I was entering 3/4 sideways because it was so manageable. Didn't have to be very clever. And I found that getting it hooked up sideways like a speedway car was very quick. So by mistake initially, because I got in that deep at one lap, I thought, so how do I get out of this? And I pulled the handbrake on. It was with this hand actually. And that worked. So there were those extremities of terror that paid off, and some of them didn't, of course. Some of them you end up picking grass seeds out of your hair, but 9 times out of 10 you found that, oh, that worked, and we incorporate that into the technique.
Fantastic associate that JB running around last weekend, doing some pretty good work. Down at turn 11 they come down. I lost count of how many cars there was. I think it was about
10 laps.
Well, I don't think there's any point in really asking the questions if you're playing for uncertain. But we're looking forward to seeing JR and their team. Yeah, the brake, we have the look, no, it doesn't have to go through. Brake to the brake, pick up the front, then come across into curve 3. The left hander across the other side.
fastest car, anyone's car, on the day, and within 3 laps, if I couldn't go quicker, then I would walk away from motorsport. And I made that statement a few times, and I didn't walk away from it.